it's not a yucky topic, but we've been putting it in the basket of taboo and, oh, they're grieving, don't go near them, or, oh, I don't know what to say or what to do around people who are grieving. Just being there. You don't have to say anything. Just be there. Just be that sort of go, I'm here if you need me.
The Humans podcast rolls out the red carpet, opens the door, and welcomes you to this episode. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Nina.
And we do have a special guest because it's always special. And I'm so glad that she's coming back on, and I know Nina is too. And thank you as well. And to introduce her, Jordie Janes is with us this episode. Hello, lovely.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How are you all? Thank you so much for having me on again. I'm very excited about the talk today and stuff that comes out. Yeah. So
thank you for coming on again. I know you've got some wisdom to share, and we're looking forward to it.
I hope it's wisdom. I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
Always wisdom. Everything she says, wisdom.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Absolutely. We're so happy to have you back on the show, Jordie. Thank you so much. The last time we spoke as well was we had such a meaningful conversation. So I'm very excited. We've been wanting you back for ages now, from the moment you left, honestly. So thank you so much for coming back.
I can confirm. Nina was saying that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's really, it's nice to chat with like-minded, but not just like-minded, but just getting the message out there, or just getting things out there about how, even just how I work and how it sort of came about for me and all those sort of beautiful things. It's like telling a story. Unfortunately, I'm not the best writer, but I voice my story, not write my story. If that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. But I love listening to your guys' stories as well. So it's lots of fun being here again.
Thank you so much.
I mean, you say that, but everything that you say, I pick up on what you're saying. So you might say you're not a great writer, but I hear you. Everything you say, I hear you. So easy to hear you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. That's what I've been told over the years of teaching and mentoring and all that. Maybe not my family as much, but everyone else external to my family. They definitely, excuse me, by the way, people, I'm getting over this head cold, change of weather, and it's sort of now sitting on my throat and my chest. So thank you, Universal Hibernation, for allowing me to be sick 4 years ago and not being able to get, when I get sick now, I get sick. So it does my head in. But it's okay. Yes, I don't like using the C word.
That's fair.
I like you calling it universal hibernation, because that's what we did. We went into universal hibernation.
Jordie, did you feel when daylight savings ended, did you feel the shift when that happened?
Oh, yes. It was quite interesting, that shift, because we're also going through planetary stuff at that same time as well. I'm not a big astrologer. I do follow people, so I sort of get the information coming from others. But what's really interesting for me, it was definitely a huge shift, this particular one. So, yeah. Massive. And it's funny too, because I think it was a little bit later than normal. I don't feel like, normally it's in March. Because I remember when my daughter was born, 2 days after my daughter was born, it was daylight savings. So I've got a story about that. That was really interesting. But it's sort of like, I don't know if it was a week late or if it was just planetary. I don't know, but there's huge shifts coming, and shifts with an F, not without the F, by the way. So if my voice gets a little bit funny, it's shifts.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, because I heard it and I was like, oh, I better just make sure I'm saying that and pronouncing that right, because I just heard it and I was like, shifts. Shifts.
We got it.
Right.
We got it,
Yeah.
Jordie. But thank
Good.
you.
You're welcome.
Do
It
you?
happened so on our
Yeah, go ahead,
sorry, no, you
Ash.
go, my friend. No,
No,
you
you
go.
go.
You go.
I just wanted to
I
ask.
love being online.
I just wanted to ask Jordie, do you have anything coming up recently or in the near future that you
Yeah,
would maybe
sure.
like to share?
I would love to. As you both know, I work platform demonstrating, so I'm a demonstrating medium. So I'm at one of the beautiful churches in I'm going to say this wrong, Lardner. It's Lardner, I think, over in the Gippsland, this weekend. But I am actually running a psychic awareness course online at the moment, and that is if you the course is like closed. Like once I get my students, I don't bring other people in. So I normally do a 6-week course online. That's going at the moment. I'm looking at restarting my Monday night development circles online, which will probably be the end of April, start of May, roughly. I normally do it through the school terms. I'm going to Morwell, which is a beautiful country town, in May. I'm doing a workshop there, mediumship workshop, and doing spiritual centre. And yeah, and then I'm going over to Adelaide in August, which I'm very excited about. That's just come in. And I've just been asked to rep, uh, it's still in the works at the moment. So I'm just going to say I've been asked to be a speaker within a group for grief. I think grieving mothers.
Mm.
So that's really exciting, and they have different speakers come in every month and things like that. So that's in June. So keep your eyes and ears out on my mostly on my socials, so my Instagram and my Facebook. So, but that's what's going on at the moment, and hopefully by the end of the year, I'm looking at probably doing my 6-month mentoring from the middle of the year to the end of the year, probably as well. Again, I'm just going to get that started. So, but it's only just starting to get back on the horse again. So, yeah, so I'm very excited. But it's busy, but it's not busy. I've got clients and things like that, so I'm very excited. The momentum's building again. So after the last 12 months, yeah, which
Yeah,
is really good.
that's amazing. You're incredible. And I hope everything continues to pour in the way that it needs to. And you're an amazing speaker anyway. So I know you will have a lot of wisdom to share and a lot of guidance to give. But even so, I hope you also get to receive some of that as well in return when you need it and if you need it.
Yeah. It sort of it lights my fire when I see people interact with the inspiration that comes through me, because sometimes the inspiration is not me. It's definitely not me, because I look at it and go, oh, sometimes I wish I was that smart. But it's sort of like them watching like the students that I have, that I work with, really open and become aware of their own abilities, because everyone's got this. It's not something that we're not. I want to say we're not special, but then it's sort of like, well, you've sometimes got to be special to work in this industry as well. But it's really important to know that everyone's got this, and it depends on what we build, what we basically go to the gym for, to work out what works for us. And if we use it in our everyday life to inspire others, or to be inspired to do the best that we can be, that is the key. And that's what we've been given. We start off with these things. We are born with the innate ability to do what I do. on a physical level. It's just that I've sort of stepped into it and unprogrammed and really sort of allowed myself to be in that space that I have that conduit aspect. It's like being the telephone for people with abilities. So some people just take the abilities on and use it in everyday life. Some people go a bit more professional, like I was made to do, kicking and screaming, but loving it every minute of it. So, yeah.
That's so wise. And I love that you actually touched upon that everybody has this ability, because I believe in that as well. I think over the years we can get disconnected, but with workshops like these and with people like you who have so much to offer to people who want to learn, it's incredible. So to anybody listening, please keep an eye out on Jordie's socials. I promise you it's so worth it.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're more than
Yeah.
welcome.
Yeah. The Jordie psychic medium to the Jordie normal. I mean, I won't say normal because we're all normal. It's just other people are weird. It's just the case of going, me as Jordie is totally different to me as, excuse me, this is going to happen. Oh my God. The psychic medium, where it's like, I want to go and I put different hats on, like we all do. So Jordie the mum, Jordie the daughter, Jordie the sister, Jordie the wife, we all have different personas. So, yeah.
You've been on such a transformative journey over this last year. And so I do want to ask, how do you navigate between all these different aspects of yourself?
It's been an interesting ride. Thank you for asking. It's been, you've really, I mean, not compartmentalize, that's not the word, but I've got to sit in it, sit in the present moment of it. So when it, emotion and everything. So I'm happy to start talking about that story over the last 12 months, because since I last spoke to you, I was in the throes the last time I spoke to you. I was in the throes of grief or losing people, if I remember correctly, because I remember, because my friend was here and okay. So, yeah, it was around the same time last year that we all connected.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, I'm going to say long story short, but let's see how we go with that. um, so basically, my mother-in-law was not well, or she just passed. I can't remember. But then 3 weeks later, my dad passed, and so, but in that meantime, I did my week training, because I do a training week every year, or I try to get there every year. So I was able to get there this year as well, but last year, and then spent about 3 days here, went up to Canberra, then came back down, and then Dad passed. So it was like 3 weeks of bedlam. I feel sort of bad that I wasn't here for family, but they knew that work was work. And there's some work where I couldn't say no to, like Canberra and stuff. But there's an aspect of, after that, I was able to go, I just need to take a break. But being present was really important. Now, I wasn't present for my husband to a point, and I feel I feel a little bit bad about that. But there was aspects of them all knowing that I was in the throes of work not and not letting people down and all that sort of thing. So, but it's been a ride. It really has. Like, there's some days where grief really, I've got to sit present in it, because if I don't, I can't push it away. I can't push it down. It definitely is it's definitely, I won't say roller coaster, but it's a journey. It is a road that can be. Oh, I was talking about this the other day, which I absolutely love this analogy. I love when spirit give me analogies. I'm like, oh, I really like that. It's like the road was really tarred and smooth, but then sometimes I hit gravel, I hit dirt road, and then the dirt road's corrugated, like corrugated iron, which is like really bumpy, and then it goes back to smooth again. So, because we in this lifetime we have this journey, like we're walking this road of our own selves, and we've just got to find that right groove that we need to be in. And then sometimes we get thrown a roundabout that we just keep going in. Sorry, that's really cool. Roundabout of stuff, and we just get stuck on the roundabout until we have to move on or choose the right exit. It's funny, I was talking to someone the other day, and I was like, and the exits are here, here, and here. So it just depends on which exit you want to take from the roundabout, because you can see it. It's the grief of last year for me. I would definitely say don't go by my book, because I want to say it's, put it this way, I've seen the evolvement in myself from grieving a parent. Now I've lost both my in-laws now, and I've lost my father. So my father-in-law passed 19 years ago, I think, and then mother-in-law last year, and then now my dad. Now, dad's obviously quite a dominant fixture, was in my life because I was looking after him for 4 years, because I moved in from country Victoria down to where I live. So that was a big shift. But yeah, it's just wanting to go and call, or I go past his house when I drive up to get my nails done, and go up to Kilmore, which is just up the road. And I go past the house, the last house he was in, or the last unit he was in. So I keep checking and go, oh, is the car there? So it's little things like that, which is what we do miss. We miss those things. But I was really lucky to get a reading from, he came through last week with one of my mentors, so that was really cool. So yeah, and she absolutely adored him. And I said, well, you would have, because you both would have sat at the pub and had a whiskey, and yeah. So, but yeah, so it's been a ride over the last 12 months, and it's not even 12 months. It's 12 months tomorrow for my mother-in-law, and then 3 weeks it'll be 12 months for my hubby, for my father. So yeah.
It is so much to go through in such a short amount of time, and grief is truly such a deeply personal experience to go through. So the
Mhm.
fact that you're here right now and you're able to even talk about it, it takes so much strength and courage. And I want to say thank you
Mm.
for that. But also, I do want to ask, how have you been navigating staying in the moment when grief does show up? How do you
Um,
maintain present space?
so it's really important to honor it. So honor the grief, honor those, and it's. I won't say it's funny, but it's always my thing that I say. But what I find is when grief comes up, there's a couple of different takes on this, where I want to say that grief presents when loved ones are near. What I mean by that is the fact that if we sit down and we might be doing mindless things, like we might be mindless scrolling, or we might be doing, I won't say mindless. Will I say mindless? I don't know. Or we're coloring, or we're doing things that keep us in the present moment, or be aware, or listening to music, or dancing, or doing something, just very, I want to say mundane.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden a wave of grief comes over. One, there's thoughts. Two, your loved one is close because they've given you that inspired, oh, that memory. And we just allow ourselves to go, I'm honoring this. I know that you're here, or I know that this is welling up. I need to release it. So it's really important to honor in that moment of grief. And you can go, and it's really important to go, okay, having the support systems. The one thing is we can't do grief without support systems, because that could be loved ones, it could be family, it could be friends, it could be it could be a therapist, it could be a grief therapist, and it could be counselor. It could be, as long as you've got tools, and that's the thing. Oh, I'm going to get on my soapbox. I'm really sorry. That there is not enough support because grief has gone into a taboo aspect
Mm.
of life.
Yeah.
Whereas back in the day, and I don't know if I said this last time that I was on, back in the day, we used to honor we used to honor our dead. We used to, and they still do, like in some beautiful cultures, the Day of the Dead, the I'm not going to pronounce it because what's the name, Halloween or Samhain. We honor, we honor our, we honor our dead. But like in recent times, it's become very clinical. It becomes very clinical. It gets taken out of your hands, taken out of your control. Whereas back in the day, they used to allow people to lay in state in their houses. They're bringing that back. There's some areas of life now that they're starting to bring that back in. Like there's beautiful companies that are starting to do that again. There's a friend of mine did that with her mum a couple of years ago. But it's just been a topic that people, it's not a yucky topic, but we've been putting it in the basket of taboo, and oh, they're grieving, don't go near them, or oh, I don't know what to say or what to do around people who are grieving. Just being there. You don't have to say anything. Just be there. Just be that sort of go, I'm here if you need me. But I really, it upsets me, the grief, or the culture around grief and people dying. And it's funny because, you know, when sometimes we think our phones are sort of listening to us and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. Yeah, no. Yeah, anyway, I'm not going to get into that theory. But it's really important because I was watching something the other day where it's become so clinical. I think it was actually The Project did something on this, one of the shows over here, where the whole aspect of not having the family with a person that's passing in ICU, or these things become so clinical that we really need to go, hang on a second, where's the human factor in this? There's the human factor, the energy of us. I remember the day my dad passed because my body felt it.
Mm.
I felt it before he passed. I felt it in my heart. The thing is, a lot of people don't know until you've experienced it. And that's the other thing too, experience. I can go by my experience and you can talk from your experience, and the same with you. Yeah, with both of you, you both can talk about but you can take it from your experience, not others. So I just feel like we need to get it out of the taboo cupboard and go, okay, what do I want? And that's the thing. Birth, deaths, and marriages, like they're literally, or birth, deaths, and taxes, sorry, they're all a part of life, but the death part is not celebrated as much as a birth sometimes. It's sort of, it needs to be more celebrated. It needs to be celebrating the dash in between the birth date and the death date. The dash is the important bit, but also the dignity of people is important too. You want to spend 4 hours with me, I can literally, but remember, this is all my opinion, my point of view, I'm talking on my experience. So, and I had 2 deaths, obviously, in the 3 weeks. So the way my mother-in-law passed and the way my dad passed, 2 different. We are never the same. It's like the way we are born different. Everyone's born into this world differently. No 2 births are the same. And that's the same when we pass. No 2 deaths are the same. So, yeah, it might be the same theme. There might be some threads, but we all pass differently.
Mm.
Wow.
Anyway, I hope that answered your question, because I think I went on a tangent, as I do.
Absolutely. No, please continue. Because you're absolutely right. You have so much pressure in society about how to live life, but you don't celebrate a life when they are passing over or they have passed over. Why do you think that is? Do you have your own ideas about that?
Yes, remember, it's my opinion, please. It's my knowledge, my understanding, my opinion. So those who are listening, it's just the way my point of view is, and that's where I look at things. But it's become very, like everything, it comes commercialized to a point. Don't come at me, but it's sort of not allowing us to control how we do things. So, and we don't like talking. It's funny because we don't like talking about it, but yeah, we all go to that point. We all pass in some shape or form. But how would you like to go? What would you like for people to do? Like, there's one movie that, to be honest, I'm so sorry right now. I don't know what it is, but I watched it. I think it was on Netflix, where this beautiful lady meets this guy at the airport, and they don't have the best connection at the start. Long story short, his sister, because his sister's dying or passing with cancer, and he's going back home for her memorial party that she's still here for.
I know what movie you're talking about.
Yeah, I love that movie. Sorry. And it's got what's his name? Anyway, long story short. But the thing was, the celebration of life, she was still there for, and she wanted to do that because she wanted everyone. And it was even, I've heard of this happening. A lot of people do, well, I won't say a lot, but there's people that are starting to do this now. And especially when we went through the AIDS epidemic, there was a few people that did a lot of this work, like this stuff, which is having before I die memorials or parties. And it's like, the one beautiful thing is, if we know that we're not too far away, what a great gift to have, right? Or if it's a sudden, see, the thing is, it depends on the passing. Will be sudden, it can be shocking, and we can really go through the 7 stages of grief, 5 stages of grief. And then when someone's still here, we're already starting to grieve because they're going through a long illness, and we're prepared for it. Whereas when someone passes like that, like here and then gone, we're not prepared for it. So it's just that aspect of, hang on a second, what can we do? So I just feel like the more that we talk about it, the more that we expand on this. And I know there's some beautiful things on Instagram. I'm really following, and it was really interesting because last year I was going to do my grief counselling certificate. Not the fact that it's like, yes, I need it to a point, but I'd also just like to have that extra bit of, you know what? I know I can help people with grief because the part of the work that I do is healing, and the part of the work is a small puzzle piece of the grief. It's not a like cure. It's a part of it. It's a small piece of bit of puzzle piece of the healing of the grief
Mhm.
of losing someone, because grief comes in so many different ways. Like, grief is not
Mm,
just a one stop losing someone from this life. It is relationships. It is lifestyle. It is losing, like I said, losing a job, losing lifestyle, losing what you thought was who you are to who you are now. It's such an interesting, it's an interesting word with a lot. It's like an umbrella.
Yeah.
It's a
mm,
different areas, and it's just, but yeah, it's just what I feel is just that we just need to start really um, opening up the conversation rather than just allowing people to take the control over. So being more of an advocate for self, going,
mm,
this is what I'm after, this is what I want, rather than leaving it to the last minute. Because I do feel like my dad sort of, he said it, but he hasn't said it yet. But I remember there's a couple of stories I've got with my dad the last 4 days before he passed, and we we as kids made decision, and I just feel bad because my dad was not in his own room, so we weren't able to have those conversations a lot with what he wanted and things like that. We knew a few things, but we didn't know a lot. So um, my brothers and I had a couple of decisions that we made without asking him. So I know it's going to bite me the ass eventually. Sometime he'll come and tell me, but um, I feel that it's really important to let your wishes known no matter what. And I know there's a beautiful book a couple of years ago. They were at Mind, Body and Spirit Festival, and a friend of mine showed me and went, oh, I love it. It is like a book that you write your story, but then also write your wishes and what you want to do for when you pass. So
mm,
I just feel like we need a book, and there is books out there. And I just want to go, if you can relieve your loved ones the pressure of what you're after without having, because sometimes we can have really good conversations, candid conversations with our loved ones. Sometimes we don't. So I like looking at things on the other side of things where I just, after we, sorry. Yeah, so I'll go into that story later. But yeah, it's the more we take control of our own journey, the easier it is. But I just feel like, going back to the question, I just feel like it's commercialized a little bit too much. It's been taken out of our hands. Um, and I sometimes yeah, it's just with the way that we used to revel and celebrate back in the day. Yeah, we celebrate, but it's very clinical now, or very commercialized. I hate to say that, but
mm.
yeah.
You're
Yeah,
absolutely
I
right.
agree.
Yeah.
Mm. If I may even add on as well to this topic of conversation with grief, when you really observe, obviously everyone has their right to process in their way. And if they're willing to learn and add knowledge towards that, they will, if that's their journey and their choice. I feel like I've noticed that people are incredibly uncomfortable with how heavy grief is. And because essentially, this from what I've witnessed and how I hear people talk about grief, it's the unprocessed emotions from before, and then feeling something as heavy as grief kind of all combines, in my opinion, and just sits there. And then people do not know how to release it, how to validate it, how to understand it. I mean, essentially, I've watched people focus entirely on their grief and not be able to be in the moment of that funeral, basically. And that's completely understandable. Is that you're sitting there trying to control it. And I know this myself. You're trying to control it. You're trying to keep it where it is because of how uncomfortable, especially a safety thing as well. People will not express vulnerability if they do not feel safe to do so. And I feel in a lot of ways too, especially within family units and even just within strangers, a lot of people do not feel safe to show, especially something that can be as heavy as grief for a lot of people. And the way they express that can be so overwhelming. Like you see people just move forward and they're fully releasing and releasing. I've seen videos on TikTok. Of course, I'll have videos come up of people at a funeral and there's the process of that. And you see people fully releasing and they're moving forward. And I know you and I have talked about this, Jordie, because when I've had healings with Jordie before, the movement of going forward and just like you feel it being released from your chest. Like you literally feel like I'm not going to say vomiting, right? But it literally feels like I don't know any other word to describe it, vomiting up everything that has been sitting on your chest area. And I learned from Jordie that grief sits on the chest, really, and it's the main place. And it's so interesting when she told me that, just the unfolding of learning what that feels like and being more aware of it and observing sort of like where it's sitting, heart, lungs, and even sometimes throat. Like you feel it. Some of you might have felt it in your throat before when you're emotional. It's like that ball in your throat and it all just sits there, right? But from my personal perspective, I just think, one, it is, as you also mentioned too, it's an element of control for safety within self to not express vulnerability. That's like the version of safety for a lot of people. And then also too, like you said, I think there's a lot of professionalism with this, if I said that word right. And what I mean by that is thinking that we walk into this space and remain emotionless, because remaining emotionless is stability. I think a lot of people put that towards emotional stability, is walking into the funeral of your loved one and being completely, what's the word? Emotionless.
Yep.
And I'm not meaning that in a harsh way either. I'm not meaning that in a harsh way. But I think it all comes down to being perceived as well. Fear of being perceived too. Just all of those elements, fear of being seen, fear of being perceived, fear of expressing emotion. And I learnt this from Jordie as well, The Celebration of Life. She actually recommended me a book called Journey of Souls. I cannot see who the author's from. It's right there, but I can't see the author. But she recommended that for me, just with general sense, because grief can actually show up not just from the loss of someone. Grief can actually show up from what you've experienced in your life, which I learned from Jordie as well. So yeah, that's just my perspective on it. Hearing Jordie speak is that a lot of it comes down to, in my opinion, as well, just how human beings process their emotions and how they feel comfortability in that and how they've been taught to, what's the word? Essentially how they've been taught to see loss, to see death, to see funerals and grief. A lot of it comes down to teaching as well, and it's deconstructing that. But I do agree as well that I think with people trying to cope with other elements of life. Like at the moment, there's a lot of talk about boundaries and generational cycles and human behavior and emotional availability, right? There is not a lot of conversation that I've seen when it comes to grief. You know, obviously it happens, but I haven't seen a lot of conversations on it. I think it's heavy.
Mm,
It's a really heavy subject. And I think everyone that knows can validate that. It's
mm,
so heavy. So
mm,
processing something like generational cycles, let's say, it's heavy. That's heavy too, right? But then
mm,
getting down deep into something like grief and loss, and then the thought process of, I'm never going to see this person again. I'm never going to speak to them again. I'm never going to do this. I'm never going to do that. If you're not in the spiritual side of things where you believe that, you know, you can maybe smell
mm.
your loved one, because sometimes I smell my nan a lot. Sometimes I'll just get a whiff of her lavender powder and I'm like, hey, girl. You know, if you're not in belief of that, which is okay, right? But if you're not, then where's the comfortability? It's like people trying to find the comfortability after the physical loss. There's just, to me, there's just so many levels to work through with a lot of people. And because everything else is happening at the same time and we're going through massive transitions, I think it's going to take people time to even get to the point of validating grief and the
Mm.
process of that, really. I think people will get there. I truly believe people will get there with people like Jordie, with other healers coming out and speaking, especially if you becoming a grief counselor. Yes. If you still decide, yes, Jordie. Yes, Jordie. Truly.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
we actually do need more grief counselors. We need more healers along this side of the fence as well to
Mm.
speak out a lot more about this and show people the other sides to it that they're not seeing. I didn't see this side until you spoke, so yeah.
Yeah, and I call it lasagna of layers, like because it's lasagna.
Lasagna of layers.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
lasagna is all about layers.
yeah.
It could be a cake as well. It could be layered cakes, but I call lasagna. I
Mm,
like lasagna better. But it is. It's and the one thing about the word grief, there is. It's like it's funny because they're showing me like the old cloud idea things we used to put a word in a cloud and then we go off. Like you can put grief in a cloud and you can go relationship, work,
mhm,
who you were 2, 3 years ago. Because as we grow old, we grieve the version of ourselves.
mm.
Losing a loved one, losing a pet, losing a friendship. There's so many different things grief has
Yeah.
this. It's not. The one thing is, if we become friends with the word, it is allowing us to be gentle with ourselves. We're able to love ourselves because the grief wouldn't be there if we didn't have love. So love and grief go
Mhm,
hand in hand. Love of anything, right? The love of a person. We're grieving that loss. So love, loss, and grief, they all interact.
mm,
But it's just really, yeah, it's just really interesting why and how it's like, I was gonna say trauma. It's like grief. It's just, there's so many layers to it. I don't think we have enough time this morning, but it's important to know that finding the right people, finding your people to help you through that time, that's massive. But like you said, it's not in regular conversation, and it should be.
mm,
It's not something that we delve deep into, but the acknowledgement of it, right? And there's a ripple effect. Sorry, they're just showing me. I see an acupuncturist and things that she's been through over the last couple of months. But it's not her; it's like her daughter through her daughter. It's the whole sense of our experience. We even grieve the experience of others, like what others have been through.
Yes.
And we go, oh my God. And it's, sorry, I might get a little bit emotional with this, and I don't want to go too much, but when I connect with people who have gone through, their children have gone through, their friends taking at very young age, taking their own life. I mean, this is a whole nother ball game, but young people taking their own life, the ripple effect of the, yes, it's what's happened. I have a different point of view in going, if they're meant to, they're meant to. It's a soul's journey, but the humanness of ourselves attaching, well, hang on, they're so young. Yes, they are. Might be a bit controversial here. The way that I see things, and nothing's really changed to a point until Spirit told me different, that we all are on the soul journey. We don't know when we're going to go, but our journey and our lessons in life, we've chosen this life. We've chosen our contracts. So just going back to the point that I was saying is, I've seen grief through people that, and I've felt the grief through people who have lost people, if that makes sense.
Mm.
So it is a ripple effect. It ripple effects to everyone. And to say that you don't acknowledge that grief, not to say you're not human, but there's no empathy switch within you. So, but the thing is, it's not taking it on, but seeing it. So setting boundary with it, don't take it on because it's not yours, but setting boundaries with it, going, okay, I'm seeing you going through that. I honor that. I'll sit with it. I'll sit with you, hold space with you, but I won't take it on. And that's the thing for us. The more that we experience this life, the more that we'll see, the more that we'll go, okay, where am I in that for you? And that's your layer. So for me, being the medium, being that person of knowing that, like, this shit's real, it's important for us to honor the space to be held for others in their time of change, evolvement, grief, trauma. So it's just really important to, yes, if it's affecting you, it affects you, but if it's not yours, don't take it on. And that's the thing. We can see it, but allowing us to have that space with that person, that's the key, and being able to hold space. But it's so, grief is so many layers, but layers are taboo. And it needs to stop being taboo. It needs to stop being not talked about. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. I would love to add to what you both said, because you do have just so much wisdom. Oh my gosh. But Ash and I literally, I think a couple days ago, had a little bit of a conversation on grief. And I had said to her that grief is the emptying of the vessel. It is the emptying of the canister, and it is the opposite, or the other side of love, like you mentioned, Jordie. You know, it's like, it takes courage to love, and it takes courage to let go, and you have to release it. So to anybody who is struggling, to anybody who has a hard time really embodying the grief and being present with it, because I used to be there. I was a person who did not want to feel pain or a lot of it, and I had to compartmentalize it. But when grief showed up in my life, it just took front and center, and there was no way for me to avoid it. I had to sit with it. There was no escape. And once I learned how to grieve and to be present with it, that is when I was able to heal and to learn and to grow with it and to realize that just like death, it is a part of life. And just like loving, you also have to, when it comes to love and loving, you also need to grieve, because that love will not be there forever. We will not be there forever. It is not something to fear. It is not something to avoid. It is something to welcome in, because I feel personally like grief, even though it is really hard to sit with, is kind of like a hug when the person has passed on, because it means that person has left a mark in your life and has been vital and important, and you two had such a close connection. Maybe not always, but you had a connection, and it was important enough for it to be grieved when they left or when they passed over, or when a certain situation didn't pan out the way that you wanted to, or a certain future didn't come to pass. It just, it's all part of being a human. And like you said, we have to come back to a place of acknowledging that aspect of life. We can't just think everything is unicorns and rainbows and we can't feel any pain. We don't need to. We just got to work. We got to keep going and moving and doing all these amazing things without also acknowledging the loss and the absence of the things we hoped for or the people we loved. I hope that
Yeah,
makes sense.
totally. I love that. And it's a really interesting thing, because remember, we've come to Earth for the Earth is school. So we're
Mhm.
here for the soul's lessons.
Yeah.
To my knowledge and my understanding, my belief system, you can take what you will, but we're here to learn those lessons. And the more, it's really interesting, the more that I work in this beautiful work that I do, and the more the connection that I have, I love my nose, we are able to, so this is the sort of thing that I feel, is we're able to have a perspective on what we're going through. So when we're
Mm.
in the fishbowl of it, or when we're in the container of it, we don't get the observing or the perspective of what we're going through. But the more that I've worked in this, the more I become observant of, okay, what am I feeling today? It's not detaching from it, but it's allowing you to look at it on a 360,
Mhm.
rather than just the whole just being in a bubble. It doesn't mean that you don't sit in that container and grieve and process and all that. But this is where a therapist comes in really well, a friend, colleague who is able to look and give you perspectives of what you're going through. So it allows you to feel normal. And
Mhm.
that's the thing. We need to feel in who we are, from heart, stomach, solar plexus. We need to feel normal in this process. We're not robots. We process everything differently. You process it, I process it. We all process it from different points of view, but we just need to allow ourselves the space to grieve and acknowledge it, but then also um, find the light, or find the perspective of it, knowing that, I mean, I've had epiphanies between last time I spoke to you and now, um, with certain things around being human and being in the spirit, like external and the internal with grief. So it's a really, I'll go into that in a minute, but I hope, but yeah, Nina, what you said makes sense. Ash, it's all different perspectives, but if we honor those perspectives and honor, because I mean, you've been brought up different, we've all been brought up differently, right?
Mm.
Even to a point, we can be brought up in the same family, but we've got two different ways of looking at it.
Yeah.
So, like, my brothers have got a different perspective of my dad compared to me. Not to say that I don't know stuff about my dad, but the way that I've processed it, it's totally different to the way they've processed it,
Mm.
if that makes sense. Or the way that they've visioned it. We all had exactly the same situation, except the way they look at it to the way that I look at it, it's two different ways. But it's exactly the same situation, like with everything in life. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Definitely. Perspective is good,
Yeah.
especially with the fact that grief isn't linear and people can grieve over losing a house, losing a car. You don't really, you don't get control. Essentially, too, which is just the last thing I want to touch on with this, because I see people have like this ideology of what grief is, and it's to me personally, it's very boxed. But I understand why. I want to validate that. I understand where people are coming from to create the boxed ideology. But you can grieve over the loss of really anything, not just a person. When I see people invalidate someone's grief with the loss of a pet, you have pets around for 13, 10, 6, even 2 years, a year, it doesn't matter. It's what Nina was saying and what Jordie's saying as well. It's love, it's connection, and we connect. We're human. This is what we do. Jordie said we're not robots. Well, we're not, because we connect, right? And it's, as Jordie was saying too, it's holding space for that, sitting in the space, but also too, you can, in my opinion, you don't have to understand, but you can step back and observe and even hear the fact that love and connection, no, how do I want to say it? You can step back and observe and, even just let them talk about their connection. Like, let someone talk about their connection with their pet or their loved one or to their house, losing a house even, right? Listen to their words on what that feels like. Listen, just observe, hold space. People will tell you how it feels. They'll explain it from generally how it's feeling within. And there's just no look to that. There's literally nothing in terms of creating like oh, well, you can't grieve over a house. It's literally just wood and brick. There's just no image to your connection, to your feeling. That's really what I'm saying. As a human being, there's no, like, we like to put like walls up and we like to put structures in place with this. There's none of that, in my opinion. You can feel the loss, you can feel the harm, you can feel the grief, you can feel all of that, right? And as Jordie was talking about with support systems, it's literally just holding space that people love their pets, people love their family, people love their houses that they've built. I've known people that have built their houses, like themselves have built that house from scratch. Of course, you're going to love that house. You built it from scratch. You put all of you into that house. So the loss of that feeling within, people feel that. People will feel that. And we are essentially, in my opinion, the greatest support system. We really are. And we have the gift and the ability to hold space for that for people. We definitely can. We definitely can. So yeah, grief doesn't have an image to it. It really doesn't.
It just has, it's such a, it really is. I mean, I'm a vocab freak, and I'm just like, why? It's like we need to sort of go, I loved someone and lost them. I loved a pet and I lost it. I loved my house and I lost it. Instead of just going, I'm grieving. Well, hang on a second. What are you grieving for? What are you grieving about? What's the grief there? Because we as humans, it is a grief that every day we can grieve. right? It depends on the I won't say severity of it. That's not the word. Is the thing ah
The
word.
depth.
Yes, thank you. That's better. The depth of it. So you can cry over spilt milk. That's grief. Sorry. I'm not trivializing it in any way, shape, or form, but or you could it's there's such a scope. It's not it's like losing a plant even that you've given all your love to, and your plant's like no longer with you, and fish.
I get that.
But what we do is we
Yeah.
build up a tolerance to it.
Mm.
Build a tolerance to the grief and the form of grief it is. Whereas when it's human, when it's a pet, when there is its loved ones, or even like if with all the grief in the world at the moment, we wouldn't be able to cope with it right now. There's so much going on in every part of the globe right now that if we were so privy to every single part, we wouldn't be here. We would just implode.
Yeah.
So that's why we have to really be mindful of where our mind goes, what we see, what we feel. I've noticed over the last couple of weeks, I've not been watching the news recently. It's sort of just really stepping back from, yes, I know it's there. I'm not being naive. I'm not being disassociated. I know it's there, but I'm controlling what part of my awareness kicks in with that. Because if we don't, and that's the whole thing, if we control our awareness to what part of the grief, doesn't mean that we don't discount it, but we allow ourselves to be able to process it a little bit easier rather than just sometimes you need to be overwhelmed. I remember the day I went back to my dad's unit after he passed, and I literally was guttural crying. Guttural. Why? Because I needed to release it. I needed to release that weight of grief. So, but it's just really important to it's the honor. It's the present, being in the presence of it, and just allowing that space. And it's funny, I just want to touch on grief in our body. We hold it. If we don't speak it, obviously our throat plays up. Definitely falls on the lung and the heart, but also it does affect the intestine as well. So when we have issues going to the toilet, I'm not going to go into depth here, but we can literally release grief that way as well. Better known as my beautiful friend Kathleen from the Loving Lotus in Canberra. She calls it the trauma dump, but it's just, and actually my friend over in Seattle, she also says it as well. I love her. If we have issues intestinally, grief is a part of that as well, because we need to release it.
Yeah.
So that's how our body works. So on an energetic level and a metaphysics level, our body reacts to emotion. So every emotion we have, we hold. So, or experiences we hold in our body. So it's always good. And that's the other thing I was looking into, metaphysics as well and stuff. So, but yeah, it's just, but the one beautiful thing is the more that we open ourselves up to the realm of the parallel universe of ourselves, which is the spirit world, the fun we could have, the less we feel grief to a point when we lose our loved ones. And I'm not saying it's everyone's belief system. That's totally fine. Each to their own. But I need to say this one thing. I think I said this. I don't think I said this last time. because I was trying to feel for Dad when Dad passed. I know we're going a bit off center here, but this is the grief, right? So this makes sense. So when we are grieving, we're grieving the physical form of the loved one being here, being able to chat, right? So I had a little bit of a for the spirit world. I went, what the why can't I connect with Dad? I'm a medium. I should be able to. And spirit go, or obviously the universal consciousness or whoever it was, came in and said, because you're searching for the wrong thing, you're searching for his physical form, not his spirit form. And I went, duh. Because I was literally, because when we are physical, it's a lot easier for us to communicate, right?
Mm.
When we go into the spirit world, what they're looking for is the physical aspect of that person. But realistically, it's the energetic soul aspect of that person, because we have 3 bodies, to my knowledge, my understanding, my belief system: mental, physical, spiritual body, 3 different bodies. So when I, so yeah, me being the medium, going, like, I should have realized that I was actually searching for Dad's physical energy, not Dad's spiritual energy. Because that's all I knew Dad for, was his physical. Makes sense? So when we're searching for, not searching, but when we're trying to connect with our loved ones, that's why we feel emotion when we think of them, is because technically they're coming closer. Because that's where spirit lands on our heart space. So when we're connecting, or when we're feeling like that real heaviness in our chest, or that light fluttery, oh, hang on a second, I'm feeling like, oh my God, my breath's just taken away. It could be just spirit stepping in, your loved one stepping in, just going, it's okay, I'm here. So you don't need the smells, you don't need the symbols. It's just like sitting and asking them to come close, and they will come close, because your heart will flutter. Being the proper person, I'm saying, if you do get heart palpitations or fluttering, please go see a doctor if pains persist, because we can't all blame spirit for our physical stuff. We need to also make sure that we don't have issues with our heart. So please go see the doctor if pain persists, or if they persist and you go, hang on a second. So it's really important to know, okay, that's spirit, or that's my heart. So it's just those sort of things. But yeah, it was quite an interesting epiphany when spirit go, you're reaching for the wrong energy. And I just went, oh, okay. I could do it with anyone else, but because Dad, obviously Dad being Dad, or being my dad, it was different. It is different. And I still remember the day, and the reason why I say that with my heart is the day that Dad was passing, I could feel it in my heart. I can, when they say a heartstring, I was like, oh, yeah, okay. I experienced it that day, and I was like, oh, he's going. So it's like our body, our spirit body, our physical, we know when someone's transitioning. But in also saying that, I knew Mum and Dad, my mother-in-law, I call Mum, my mother-in-law Mum. I knew both of them were going to pass last year. I didn't know when, I didn't know how, I just knew both of them were going to go. Yeah, and I did have funny conversations with my dad, because mother-in-law passed first. And I went, okay, but can you just wait 3 to 6 months so we can get over Mum? Sorry. We have a bit of a dry, blackish sense of humour. Comes from my dad, God love him. But literally God love him because he's over there now. Sorry. See, this is the humor that I have with my dad. Don't worry, I used to get it with my nan as well. My mum's mum. But it's the Scottish and the Irish. Like, it's just that, you know, that humor that it's just
Yeah.
so matter of fact, like the earthiness. Like, it's just like, it is what it is, you know?
Yeah.
But it's like when I said to Dad that, because my mother-in-law was about on her way out, I walked in to see Dad because Dad was in hospital, and I was bawling my eyes out. And this conversation, I love this conversation. And he goes, "Oh, she's gone." I said, "Not yet, but here's the thing. Can you wait 3 to 6 months before you go?" And he just went like that. And I was like, "Oh, you're..." So this is the relationship I have with Dad. I literally sat down with my dad before Christmas last year, like not last year, the year before, and just a couple of insights of our personal life. And he didn't feel up to going to Christmas. I get that because he was not 100%. And I basically said to him, I said, "Look, Dad, sorry, it's not about you. It's about us. And you're coming." So I had to sort of have that talk. But a lot of beautiful talks I had with Dad, knowing that he wasn't going to be here. And I feel really blessed that I had the knowing, right? Even though they were elderly, but being privy to the fact that I knew that they were going to go last year. I didn't know how, I didn't know when, even to a point. And this is the thing, we all have this. I'm just a little bit more attuned to the awareness, a little bit more allowing myself to sit into that space of my consciousness and my feeling, a little bit more aware of it. And I just had this knowing. I just don't know how, but I just had this knowing. So we do all have that ability. We all have that ability of just knowing. I don't know how, I just know. So trust that. I don't know how I'm going to get there, but I know I'm going to be there. Do you know what I mean? It's like, because that's what I had for last week's training course. I knew I was on the fence, actually, to be honest, with last week's training. But I was like, you know what? If I'm meant to be there, I'm meant to be there. And I mean, I also, sorry, just going on a bit of a tangent here. Last week, because there was a beautiful friend who passed at the start of the year, who was meant to be there that week. Oh my God, did she come through with a vengeance? Like literally, she was helping all the newbies as well. So it was really funny how she was coming through with the newbies and teach. It was the most beautiful experience, but it was also quite funny because she gave me a few what fors as well. God love her, because that's what she was. Oh mate, she was the epiphany of, you don't even know. You couldn't, if you read her, it's good. She's a beautiful soul. But when she had this look, and you just go, shit, if I didn't know her, I would have thought she hated me or she didn't like me because she had that look. But yeah, it's just, so I feel really humbled to be able to do the work that I do and help people through their grief. But it's also honouring and being able to help people unprogram the programming of what they consider grief or consider what you should and shouldn't do. I don't know if that makes sense.
So there is actually something I do really want to ask you both about, and Ash, if you want to chime in as well, please do. My father passed several years ago, and ever since I've definitely had the experience, and I didn't know this prior, so to anybody listening, this can happen as well, but how can I say this? I discovered then and there after his passing that you can get to know a person in the afterlife. I don't know if you want to call it that, but once they've passed over, you can get to know a different aspect of who they are and who they were and what they truly want to, in terms of information, pass forward onto you. And so my question to you, Jordie, is how has your relationship changed or evolved after your father's passing? Has there been any moments where you've gotten signs or where you feel or felt especially connected to him?
So, it's a really good question because, on a whole, we all experience our loved ones differently when they transition,
Mm-hmm.
and we look at their life. We even go through their life experience as well, what they've been through in their life, and because you hear story.
Mm-hmm.
Because remember, we as children only come into their story at a certain age, so we don't hear, or what we hear or what we perceive to hear about a life before you came into the world
Mm-hmm.
is quite different to when they do transition and you realize that things haven't always been what they seem. So with my dad,
Mm.
because dad's adopted, my dad was adopted, so the adoptive family, beautiful family, absolutely. Dad was the only child, all that sort of thing. My relationship with my father, I feel that my relationship with dad was a little bit better before he passed, but then now after he passed, there's a bit more enlightenment, I will say. There's a little bit more understanding, but then also I've got understanding about my adoptive grandmother as well after she passed. So there's a lot of, I want to say, human stories compared to the soul story is different.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm.
yes, there's spaces here when our loved ones do transition that we have a bit more closeness. The human or the meat suit is taken away. The human experiences are there, but then we are looking at it at an enlightened aspect of them as well. So it does change to a point. Because remember, and this is an interesting thing about humanity, is yes, dad's passed, my mum's still here, which is amazing. My stepfather's still here. But we also carry the DNA of our ancestors and the generations and things like that. So in saying that, um, with my dad, there I felt a lot of his life was I can see it. Um, there's a word. It's going right now. Speaking of fog, or trying to get the right word. Retrospectively, I'm looking at things differently for him.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So the way his human behavior was a result to how he was brought up or
Mm-hmm.
who he was, if that makes sense. Signs and symbols, it's really funny. It was a beautiful thing. I got a reading from my beautiful mentor last week at the demonstration of mediumship because there's the three UK mediums came out last week, and Tony Stockwell, Lynn Probert, Shelley Yule, and then Di Thomas is an Australian tutor. But the three of them did a platform demonstration on the Wednesday night, and my dad came through with my mentor, Lynn Probert. It's funny how he came through with her. It was just hilarious. But she really got him on a personal level, which was amazing, and really gave me some beautiful insight into because finding dad's family, I'm in the process of that. I was in the process when he was here. I was very vocal with that growing up. I really wanted dad to find his family. He didn't want to, which was fair enough, until both his adoptive parents passed, which is fair. But having that close, it's like I want to go having that understanding of Dad now is a lot. And I mean, I just want to say that it's funny because I go over, because we have him here at the moment, and I have my mother-in-law right next to him, long story short. And sometimes when I go over near that area, I can smell his aftershave or I smell his underarm and stuff. And I'm like, and I literally smell everything. I'm like, is it because it's on something? No, no, it's actually him. So it's really funny. But yeah, I do get certain things to let me know that he's around. But yeah, it's just, yeah, he's not been shy coming forward, is what I want to say. So considering he wanted me to do readings for him when he was here, and I'm like, yeah, no, Dad, you're too close. So yeah, excuse me for sniffing. But yeah, it's but I'm also realizing that I've taken on a few of his lessons as well, or the lessons that I grew up with. I'm trying to move through as well. And that's one good thing about doing what I do. As soon as something comes up, I'll go, "Ooh, that's a lesson." So I acknowledge it and be the observer of why is that coming up. And yeah, there's one that I know that is a part of Dad's as much as it's a part of me. Like I feel like it's being imparted on me as well. So yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah.
It's very
And
interesting. Yeah.
it is. And it's a lot of deep transformation, deep knowledge coming in as well.
Oh, I mean, it's just there's a different level to it.
Yeah.
Because we did a lot of research when Dad was here to find his birth family. We sort of hit a dead end with his mum, but and it's just it's so interesting because being adopted, there's threads that are very similar or themes that are very similar in adoptive families. So I don't feel like Dad's is any different to the story that we have perceived. But technically, the father that's on his birth certificate may not be his father. So we've followed him. We've got all the information. He passed in like early 2000s, if I remember correctly. And we found him. We didn't actually meet him or talk to him, but I found the thread. He was still here when we were working through finding, and then he passed early 2000s. But we don't feel that he is my grandfather. We've also done DNA as well, so which was really good. So Dad and I got Dad a DNA kit, and we did DNA and all that sort of stuff when he was first diagnosed, because Dad was diagnosed with Hodgkin's in 2020. So we did all the DNA and all that sort of thing, and we talked openly about it. And he actually came out in the mediumship reading last week about finding them, because she couldn't quite pick it. And when I told her at the end that he was adopted, she goes, oh, because she talked about being disjointed or not, like trying to find and not being fully connected with family. And I'm like, you mate, you have no idea what you're saying right now. And then when I told her he was adopted, she went, oh, that makes so much sense with all the things I said. And I went, exactly. So I'm finding his family for him. Yes, it's for me medically, for medical side of things. That's where I wanted to find out. And I was a bull in a china shop with that. Just a bit of a heads up, trying to find out all the information. It sort of slowed down a little bit. But yeah, it's just really interesting finding and honoring and having a different type of connection with him.
And
Even
you've
after
go
mother-in-law
ahead.
passed, I found out more stories as well with my mother-in-law. So, but yeah.
That's, I love that though, because you're still learning, you're still growing, you're still unfolding your ancestral line with that as well. And that is deep work.
100%. And we were brought up, because mum, obviously we didn't know dad's side of the family, but my mum, we've got a real long lineage, so we've sort of been told down the line. But our ancestors came over from Aberdeenshire in Scotland on mum's side, which is the male side of my grandmother. So my grandmother's father, so his side, my great-grandfather. But when my mum got her DNA done, there's not 1 ounce of Scottish blood in her. It's all Welsh, Irish, English. So her father, so my grandfather is first generation English, because my great grandmother was born in England, in Sussex. And that's a whole nother thing as well. That's family, seriously. Like so us being here, the history that we have behind us is, I love getting into this stuff, but I don't have a whole day. But what was really interesting is mum's not got one. We are from Scotland, name-wise, blood-wise, no. Dad, on the other hand, so my birth father, he's 70% Scottish.
Wow.
Right? So it's like, hold on a second. When you were Scottish, but anyway, so either one of his parents was full-blown Scot and the other was half. So in other words, that's what we've worked out anyway, because I'm about 24-25%. But it was just really funny because he's from the Orkney Isles, and we always knew that there was something there because he had orange beard, blonde hair, blue eyes. Right? So he's from the Orkney Isles, or there's a bit of Norwegian in him as well. So sort of makes sense for the Viking aspect of him. And the stuff, he had issues with his hands, and that is a Viking trait. That's like, yeah, it was quite interesting. So he was diagnosed because he had bumps on the tendons in his palm, and he was diagnosed with it. And then we looked up, and yeah, it is a Viking. It's a Viking trait, or it's that sort of. And I was like, oh, so that sort of makes sense. Blonde hair, blue eyes, orange beard. So, but yeah, it was quite funny. Anywho, history, huh?
Yeah, incredible. I hope you get to keep unfolding and learning more as well. But you did touch a little bit on health, and you have been navigating a lot, not just emotionally, but also physically. I don't know if you'd like to talk about it, but premenopause has been coming up, and so many women don't realize that they're in it until they're in the deep end of it. So I would love for you to speak of your experience, what your first sign was, what is it like, what's going on?
Yeah. So thank you for asking. And that's another topic that's not really talked about. And it's becoming more and more prevalent now, which is amazing. It's a lot more talked about. It's a lot more awareness around it, because there's so many things around this. Like, I was watching something, it's ages ago now, where an actual doctor, she was only given an hour of her training on menopause out of how many years did they study? Right? So that's really was very interesting for me. I was like, bloody hell. Anyway, so I want to say the symptoms that I have, or they really started 7 years ago.
Mhm.
And the first one is itchy ears. Oh my God. It is like you get dry skin in the
Mhm.
ears and they become very itchy. And I thought it was because I was in a call center, I thought it was because I have my headset, because I only had it in this ear. Then it came to this ear. And it's funny because it all started when I left 7 years ago, when I left my corporate world.
Mm.
And I was like, oh, I'm just getting these itchy. Nothing could cure it, but that's all an estrogen thing. It's all
Mhm.
it's an hormonal thing. But I only found that out 6 months ago, that it was that. And then there's other things like cortisol and all that sort of stuff. So my body and just feeling a little bit frumpy, and there's so many changes that we go through in regards to the perimenopause. So technically, when we don't, and I know I'm going to go TMI here, when we stop, that's menopause.
Mhm.
But we can be 7 to 10 years in perimenopause. The body
Wow.
just there's I'm really glad there's a lot more being talked about with this, because sometimes, I mean, yes, there's the fogginess, there's the mood swings. Like we think we've got bloody was it PMS, but it's like tenfold. We can be tenfold, not just the normal. It can be exaggerated. It's okay. There's certain things that you hear, and it's so true. It feels like you're coming into hormones, like you're being a teenager again, like everything shifts, but it's going out the other way.
Mhm.
So when your hormones start raging, we start raging, but we're going down. We're releasing it and letting it go. So it's sort of, but this is my take. Remember, this is my experience. Everyone works and experiences differently. Everyone's got their point of views. This is just my point of view, or my experience, to be honest. I know I'm going through those phases right now, which has then affected me in the way that I work, in my evolution of connection. It's not dulling my connection. I'm a little bit more hypersensitive. So, beautiful ladies, if you ever fall pregnant, oh my God, your senses go fucking off the chart. You can smell, I know this is going to sound really awful, but you can smell dog pee a mile away.
Wow.
Your senses go psycho. That's why people go,
I've
I
heard that.
can't go past a butcher's shop because the smell of meat is just bleh. Your taste buds, like all your senses get heightened because you're hypersensitive because you're protecting a baby, right? So the same thing. We literally go through all these different senses when we're going in perimenopause. That's what I'm feeling anyway. So my taste buds, like I get a metal taste in my mouth, but that is perimenopause as well. Like definitely go get yourselves checked out. Go to the doctors, because this is what I'm going through at the moment. Find a really good supplement is what I say. Finding a really good supplement, doing all your vitamins, really being on top of your vitamins, because you're and find what works for you. That's the biggest thing. Trial and error. Find what works for you. Biggest thing. Mood swings, yeah. Being foggy, yes. All those different aspects. We can't all blame perimenopause for things, but just go and get yourself checked out. But for me, it is, I feel like I want to go, it, so this is my thought in regards to going through perimenopause, because there's people that go younger and there's people that go older when they start. But also it gets a little bit lost too, because we, as like, have gone through grief in the last 12 months. unless I knew before they passed, I wouldn't have realized I was in that phase because I would have been just thinking it was grief. But it wasn't. It was, and a lot of us, if we are blessed to have elderly parents, and back in the day, it was like my generation, they were all in 19, 20, 21. So when we're in our 50s, we're losing our parents. So females were going through that phase of perimenopause, but it's not, we just might think it's grief. So it hasn't really, so that's, I feel over the last 5 years with, or 3, 4, 5, whatever it is, years, perimenopause is really becoming a focus. Because back in the day, we just thought it was grief. So our bodies were shutting down. We were not shutting down, but you know what I mean? We are reorganizing our hormones because of grief. There's a lot of different takes that I see in that, but yeah, it's just really interesting. But my spirit, don't want to call it gifts, I want to call it ability. My spiritual abilities, it's just, there's a little bit of a shift. And what I mean by that is I know all the basics, and now, like, I think I said this last time, I've done all the work, and now I'm going through my PhD and my doctorate. So there's that extra layer now. So I've got all the foundations, right? But now I'm reaching for something different. But my physical body and my emotions and my mind, my brain, there's all shifting with this change of my human.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very interesting.
Has
There's
this,
yeah, go.
sorry, no, you
That's
go
all right.
ahead.
No, go.
Has this shift challenged or reshaped your views on being a woman, on femininity or identity, or even your purpose in terms of your spiritual abilities at all?
I don't feel like it has, to a point. I'm a little bit more, I mean, it all comes with age, but it's like it is what it is. I know that probably in the last 12 months, I'm a little bit more like moving from different friendships, just different things have shifted.
Mm-hmm.
And you sort of go, there's definitely change. I just feel like there is a shift in me. There's no toleration anymore. I have little tolerance for shit. Does that make sense? And it's sorry, because when my friend came through last week with some of the readings, she goes, "I need to get my balls. I need to grow some more balls, and I need to get my bitch on." And I'm like, because I like to, not to be nice, but I like to make people feel comfortable, right? And I need to sort of set my boundaries and go, yeah, if I make you feel uncomfortable, that's your shit, not mine. But I'm still that person. I'm not a people pleaser, but I hold space for others, and I like to make sure people are comfortable. So I move myself like Play-Doh to a situation rather than just being me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's I am me, but I also like to make sure that people don't feel off-footing and no, that's a lesson of mine that I've got to do is just own my shit. And if you don't like it, there's the door. Or the exits are here, here, and here.
Like on an airplane.
Yeah. You can ride it with me, or the door is right next to you.
Yeah.
So
But
that's the whole
I
shit.
feel like that is also something we learn as women, though, throughout life, is to make other people comfortable. So the fact that this is happening as you're transitioning into a different hormonal balance, hormonal shift as that is happening within you, for you to also be like, okay, I'm going to essentially draw some boundaries. I'm not gonna, you said you're not a people pleaser, which is fantastic. Thank you so much. You're healing the world just by saying that and being that way. But also, I think it's just incredible that this is coming to you. This is your lesson. This is something you're moving more into now than before as you're transitioning into this area of life, even though I'm sure premenopausal experiences are not comfortable at all.
Oh, mate, seriously, I used to be called the ice queen. Now I'm not. I'm so my temperature shifted because of hormones.
Mm-hmm.
I still feel the cold, don't get me wrong. But yeah, it's just, look at it this way, and this is what I love about my Celtic history and the earthy pagan or the belief system going back. And this is the thing, this is why I want to say death should not be taboo, it's celebrated. Yes, we grieve, but it's the crone. I'm starting to move from mother to crone. So the wise woman, if that makes sense. So there's a shift in us that we go maiden, mother, crone. So the crone is the wisdom, it is the and that's the other thing too. Oh God, here we go. Soapbox. We need to respect our elders more. We need to respect those people that have seen, I haven't seen everything. I'm not a person that has seen everything, but the wisdom of my life experience allows me to be that, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the crone, the wise woman aspect I'm moving into, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's funny because some of us go early, some of us hit menopause really early, and it just depends on the hormones. It depends on the genetics of things. So, and I know my mum went early because of my grandmother passing early. So her body reacted grief-wise, but hormonal-wise, she went earlier. So, and it's not talked about enough. It really isn't. And it affects hormones, affect our mental state.
Yeah.
And yes, we eat, it's the hormone or hormonal stuff within our bodies affect a lot of different things that have not, even in men, like it's not just women, it's men. So I'm not educated enough in that, but I know from my experience, hormones definitely interact with mental state, which is very interesting as well, but we don't have time. So.
Ashley, is there something you want to say?
Maiden, mother, and crone. I've heard of that before.
Mm-hmm.
With the explanation of crone, is there more of in-depth that you can give to it? Because obviously, I think people's ideology of crone is very much what you've read in books and seen in movies.
Yeah.
So I'd love,
Yeah.
more in-depth information for people to understand Jordie's
Yeah.
interpretation of it.
For me, it's wise woman. It is the grandmother. It is the aspect of I've done I've done what I've needed to do. Now I'm going into the phase of being the advisor, being the person of knowledge. It's the wisdom and it's the encyclopedia, but it is being more, I want to say, just being more aware. It's like I want to go, there's this aspect of, it's just a really interesting, I just want to go wise woman, knowledge, elder, holder, like keeper of records, if that makes sense. It's like, the keeper of, I mean, I'm the oldest of the children as well. My mum's the oldest. So we hold family history as well. So it's not just like there's the external, but there's also the family aspect too, of holding the knowledge within family.
Mm.
And my mum's got a lot of history with our family, like that we've got to piece together. And now I'm finding it with my dad. But it's just that it's wise. It's the encyclopedia. And if we don't know, call Google. But there's just this aspect of having that sense of life experience of just, yeah, it's just like if a young person comes to you, the experience of having a sense of go, enjoy, go stub your toes, go fall on your knees, go do that, and then come back to me when you would like to see the reason why that happened or the insight of it, if that makes sense. So, yeah, I feel like Gen X, sorry, beautifuls, but Gen X, I can see us because I'm a Gen Xer. I can see us in bloody nursing homes rocking out to AC/DC and having wheelchair fucking races and literally throwing darts at dartboards and we're not going to be sitting there just going, what the fuck? Do you know what I mean? The boomers, they've got it at the moment, but Gen Xers, mate, sorry, we are, yeah, I just feel. And then you guys, your generations are going to be probably so, it's just going to be really interesting if you look at yourselves and your generation in a nursing home, how will you be? You know?
Yeah.
Like, for me, I'd be having crystals all around my room. I would be like, I'm a crafter, so I love craft. But I mean, I'm a Lego freak as well. I'm a nerd. So I probably have Lego. I'll probably have like different aspects. I might have some nice naked men just sitting on my wall. Do you know what I mean? It's just, it is something about just enjoying the life, enjoying, and I don't feel like we'll call them nursing homes. We're going to be retirement, what is it? Retirement village, retirement. There's going to be a word for Gen Xers. I don't feel like we'll be nursing homes, to be honest.
Yeah.
Probably retirement villages, I reckon. Retirement homes, all that.
Yeah, I
As
don't
in,
feel
like,
like they're going to be called that. I'm gonna say the end, like the party life or the party. So there's something there.
Yeah.
what's the movie Project X? You know, the one where he throws this massive party at the house. Have you seen that movie, Jordie?
No.
He throws this really massive party at his house as a teenager. His parents aren't home, but we're talking like the movie based itself on the biggest party ever. I don't know how many people were there, Nina. There was like what, thousands upon thousands of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it would just be all of us in our as elders, just in this one house. Actually,
Can you
just to
imagine?
say this too, there is a TikTok group, and they call themselves the Retirement House, and they're elders that have essentially, I don't know if you've seen it, Jordie. They're in a house
I've
and they
seen
post
bits.
content.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that might be the thing. It's like a community in one house, sort of just like not necessarily posting content, but just vibing.
Yeah. So it's just, yeah, I feel, I mean, I feel for my kids, bless them. But there's just this reference here where, as we get in that elder wisdom, because like they say, you got to watch out for us because we were here before phone. We're older than phones. We're older than the internet. We're older than computers, right? And not much older. So we had a life with and without them. So we're in that middle bit. this is like, you gotta watch out for us. And I love like Slim Sherry, Dad Veteran. I love the Generational X guys that have this amazing like TikTok and Instagram and stuff. I just think this is just so funny. Slim Sherry, oh my God, she is the bomb. Like literally, if you want education on Gen X, she's the one. Like she makes me laugh. I love her. But yeah, so Bitcoin, or the wise one, the wise woman, even wise man. Like I know they don't go through those stages, but they do. So yeah, it's just I want to go. That's what I see around the crone aspect or the wise woman aspect of things. Have you guys seen Brave?
I have
Movie
not.
Brave.
Movie.
Oh,
Love
Nina,
that movie.
you need to watch it.
All right.
Because it's close to my heart because it's Scottish. I love Scotland. Still, I can't wait to get there.
Yeah.
But it's just the crone in that. That's so me.
It's hilarious.
Like, you have to watch it. The crone, which is witch, but she's a crone. It's just, you gotta watch it.
All right.
It's really cool.
It'll be on my
I love
list.
Brave. I love Brave. Yeah. It's just, I just want to say her attitude and the way that she, like that dry Scottish sense of humour, that's where I get it from. Because it comes from the family. But yeah. So.
I'm thinking about it right now. I'm just picturing like a scene from the movie. You know the part where like the knives are all floating? Such a good movie, Nina.
Yeah. And when she said something and it's like she's trying to get when she's trying to call her or try to get like, I'm sorry, not here right now. Sorry, not here right now. It's like literally she's throwing things into a cauldron, like an answering machine comes up. It is gold. It is so good. It is so good. So yeah, you got to watch it. That will be your thing today.
Okay.
To watch Brave.
Yeah, okay.
Disney.
I will do that. Thank you. Thank you for the recommendation.
Oh mate, that's who I want to be. So the crone in that, I feel like I want to do. There's also the other one, I'm not going to be as ugly as her, but the sense of humour out of Robin Hood, Kevin Costner's Robin Hood. I don't know if you guys have seen the Robin Hood.
Yeah.
Yes, I have, yeah.
And she's like running. I'm an Alan Rickman freak. I love him. He is, him as Professor Snape. Oh, anyway, sorry. I'm an Alan Rickman freak. I love him. Everything is done. Anyway, so the crone in that, I won't be as ugly as her, I hope, but she's got that sense of humour as well. And I think that's the thing. We have a sense of humour that we don't give a fuck. Excuse my French.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Or really? Are you really that stupid? Like, yeah. Sorry.
I love that. I hope you become everything you want to become in that aspect of it. And I hope we get to see you walk that journey, because that would be absolutely hilarious.
So,
Scotland.
And this is, welcome to Monday Musings. So that's my Monday Musings is a thing that I'm doing as well on Instagram. I'm looking at taking that over to YouTube because it's starting to get longer, because I've got to do it, Instagram, God bless it. You've got to do 3 minutes. Otherwise it takes forever. So I'm looking at doing a YouTube channel with my Monday Musings. And then putting a snippet on it on Instagram and then take you over to my YouTube channel. So it'll get there. Because we've talked about podcast, Ashley and I, and it's actually I've actually got the name It's like right there, like it's right there.
Nice.
So yeah, so that could be the YouTube thing.
Awesome. We're going to look forward to it. And
It's working up to it.
yeah, that's awesome. And once you have everything up, please give us a link so we can share it with everybody listening and watching in today as well.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
I do have one last question I would love to ask you.
Mm-hmm.
Since you said you're moving into kind of like your wise woman era, which I love, if you could send a message to women who are earlier in their journeys, whether with grief or navigating bodily changes, what wisdom, advice, or perspective would you like to share?
The first, where I want to go with that would be making sure you sit in the present moment. So sit with self. The ugly bits, the beautiful bits, the not so nice bits. Sit with self. Know who you are in your present form, who you are. Disconnect from the external world. Disconnect from the external story and people. Now, this doesn't have to be all the time. It could be 5 to 10 minutes a day. Taking a walk, doing things that fill your cup. The biggest thing, and this is not just, it's, I want to go, every human soul should do this, is fill your cup before you fill others. And with the things that you go through, going through the change of life, going through grief, fill your cup. Fill your cup. It is so important to put the energy back in yourself that you would put into others. Don't allow yourself to be drained. Don't allow yourself to allow your cup to be half full all the time. Fill it up. I know I'm not the best at this, and I do take my own advice occasionally, but it's important for you all to sit for self, do things that you love to do. If it's a day where you just stay in fucking bed, stay in fucking bed. Don't have to judge yourself on what other people's expectations of you.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's an age-old thing. Like it's a thing that people expect us to go out for a job, go and do this, be the mum, be the daughter, be this, be that, be that. But who are you? So you can be that.
Mm.
Because that's what we struggle with. And I do feel like that's the therapy aspect of it as well.
Mm-hmm.
We need sometimes, I'm going to say this, and I will say this, I don't go to therapy, but I wish I do sometimes. But my therapy is also, if I get to a point where I need it, I will definitely go. But at the moment, I've got my tools, I've got my tool belt, I've got things that I can do that allow me to be in that space. But it's not to say don't do it, because I want to say I highly recommend finding a therapist, finding a holistic counselor, finding something that works for you to allow you to be in that space of observedness. Because when we're internal, we don't get that. We don't. So that's when we sit for self is important. Then we can be the observer and go, oh, that feels right. That doesn't feel right. It's getting back to the feeling of what feels right, what doesn't feel right.
Mm-hmm.
Your yes, no. Your yes, no is
like
what I
that.
want.
I like that. That's beautiful. I think I told you, Ash, a couple days ago that when you're in grief mode or when you're heavily burdened with life and all the expectations people place on you, your emotions can kind of just go back and forth like a pendulum. And it's about just not trying to control where it goes, but be still so that eventually it can come back to center and you can come back to center. And I feel like what you said just was the perfect representation of that. So thank you.
You're welcome. No, thank you. And it's just important to do it because we don't. It's like we put our time into going to the gym. Yes, that's for us, don't get me wrong. But we put our time into doing things rather than putting our time into doing us.
Mm.
And that's what we need to do.
Yeah.
And do as I say, not as I do. Because I don't do enough for me. Does that make sense?
It's a mic drop moment.
I know. Crystal drop. Sorry.
Yes, crystal drop.
Crystal drop. But I'm not dropping him because he'll get a little bit nasty with me and he'll flake off and stuff.
What kind of crystal is that?
It's beautiful. A kyanite. It's kyanite.
Nice.
Blue kyanite.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's for throat chakra, right?
It's for throat. It's also a really good connector for energy, not to the spirit world, but for energy. It clears the energy. It opens up. I have one on my neck. I do have one here that I wear, and it's really funny because so I haven't moved, but my pendant is right here. So it's not here. It's here at the moment, and I don't know why it's there. It's so interesting because I put it on. It sits here, and then depending on the energy, it's moved over to here. So it's quite interesting how that sort of, so I'll just fix it and put it there. But I might find that when I walk, it might go to a different point. So it's just really interesting how crystals work. But yeah, so that's blue kyanite. And it's also really good for, so this is what they would call a sword or a blade type thing. Cutting energy as well, or cutting threads of energy. So yeah, but I use it a lot when I'm working with spirit because it's either labradorite, which is what I've got on my ring, lapis. I always have lapis on, lapis lazuli, which is obviously for my throat, and kyanite. So yeah,
it's beautiful. Yeah. And some more wisdom to anybody listening who may be interested in crystals as well and what to get.
So that's a crystal cabinet. So that's got all my crystals, or some of them. And then I've got crystal tumbles all in here as well. Oh, mate. Yeah. I reckon I should do a stock take because seriously, the stuff that I have. Yeah.
You could do a haul. You can do like a little video haul.
Yeah. So
on YouTube.
So just to let you know, I have got a necklace. I've got moldavite. Now moldavite. So moldavite is it is obviously from outer space. It's a very connected stone. It literally can put you up there. So this is the thing. I've got selenite. It's a heart. Black moonstone.
Ooh, it's beautiful.
And that's it. I'm not going to go any. Oh, I've got tourmaline on here as well. I've got lapis. Yeah. And a shiva. Basically, this is a fertility stone. So this helps with fertility, creativity. Yeah. Anyway,
it's beautiful.
I'm gonna stop now.
Thank you for showing us your little collection.
Oh, that's just like, I reckon that's probably 1%.
2%? 1%, okay.
1% of what I got.
But thank you.
You're welcome.
And it's been an absolute honor to be able to speak with you again and to have you here with us. So thank you again for making the time. And of course, as we always say, Ash, I'm sure you feel the same way. You're always welcome back. Anytime, any day.
Yay!
Definitely.
We could make it a regular. But yeah.
Yeah.
So please don't hesitate if you've got things to, please message me.
Yeah, absolutely. Ash, is there anything you would like to say before we wrap up?
Well, of course. Thank you for coming back on, especially when you're not feeling too great. We greatly appreciate it. It's always good to see you. And I look forward to your Monday musings. I know I did see it come up on Instagram, so I look forward to seeing that.
Yep.
And yeah, where your journey unfolds.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me and allowing me to be a part of your day today. And just remember, one, our loved ones are only a thought away. Two, look after ourselves because we're the only ones that can. Remember, we're the main director. Everyone else is the support people around us. And be kind to self. Be kind to others.
That's how we'll just end it there. Just like kind to self, then it fades out. Da-da-da, like the ending of the podcast. That's beautiful.
Yes, thank you so much. I
Thank
hope
you, honey.
you recover well. Please take care of yourself. Take it easy when you can. And yeah, to anybody listening, Jordie's details, socials will be in the description below. So be sure to check her out if you haven't yet already. What are you doing? And yes, that'll be it for
Until
this
next
Sunday.
time.
Yeah.
Until next time. Thanks, beautifuls. Mwah.
You're welcome.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.